Okay, welcome to our last town hall for the school year 22. We are glad that you all joined us. We're going to be talking about how to close down your kitchen for the summer. And we have some fabulous mentors on with us. So we will get going. We did have some questions that some of you sent in, but remember, anytime during this time, please ask questions, make comments. We're always glad to hear from you and to learn as much as you guys do. So I'm going to start with Judy, and just Judy, give them an idea of what you do for closing down, and we'll go from there.
That wasn't fair. We come in, so the last day of school, we kind of start giving out any leftovers, any little dibble dabs. The week or 2 weeks prior, to kind of clean up, if there's open cases or anything, we'll get freezer burnt, or maybe we want to use it and try it and see if we want to put it on the menu next year. Like we tried chicken Alfredo the other day cleaning up. I come in during the summer and check the freezers and refrigerators, so I do leave them on. So it doesn't bother me to stock up on commodities, because then I have them in August. Like if they have bonus commodities, I'll take them in May when they're offering them. So after we get out of school, a day or 2 days, whatever it takes, we clean the kitchen. We do the power wash, the ovens, the hood. So, and maybe some training, depending on if I'm having staff come back or not have staff come back. But then I try to shut down freezers. I pay major refrigeration to come and blow out the compressors before we clean, of the ones where, and then if you have a walk-in that's outside, they may do it twice, but it's dusty, and, or even if your walk-in's inside and your vents are up on the, like you can see that, the roof, they go up on a ladder and blow that all out. And I know some people's maintenance people do it, but it just works better for us to hire that done. And then I kind of do a rough I make sure like my commodities all line up and inventory that. And I inventory all the equipment and make sure it gets back to the right kitchens. And kind of go through, like, rubber spatulas probably are the one, like the tossers, if stuff needs to be thrown out. And then periodically I would come in the summer, even, when you're checking refrigerators, but run your garbage disposals, because sometimes they'll freeze up. I think that's it.
Awesome. Thank you. Okay, John, I go with you next.
Okay, I actually learned a couple things from Judy, because I never run my garbage disposal. Basically, what she said, making sure you're using up all the little tidbits you have in the freezer, any open box of things that you think might get freezer burnt. Clean out your refrigerators. If you have something in there that can go in the freezer, I throw it in the freezer, because you never know when those are going to go bad. Now, like if I have flour and things left over, instead of leaving them on the shelves in the storeroom, I put them in the refrigerator. Or you could even throw it in the freezer. Because otherwise you might come back in August and have bugs in your flour. And the same thing with the pasta, I throw it in the refrigerator. So other than that, I guess I pretty much do what Judy did.
Great. Pam, do you want to go next? There's Sheila.
I usually don't close down because I usually serve summer food. But the last, like the last couple of days, we try to scrub all the shelves and go through all that, and then when we come back, we scrub the shelves again because it just, the summer wear and tear. And like I said, I don't know how long we'll be doing summer food this year if I get my new floor. But yeah, it is. Yeah, cleaning up the little bits. And like I said, if I've got a half a box of something, I'll use that right away in the beginning of the school, beginning of the summer food, just to kind of clean up all the boxes and stuff. But other than that, yeah, what Judy and John said.
Good. Okay, Sheila. There you
All right, finally. Sorry.
go. You're fine.
What John and Pam said, I actually started 2 weeks ago with my final menu rotation and looked at what I had an abundance of that I could need to only order a little bit more to serve a meal out of it, and divided it up amongst my schools. I'm kind of the opposite of Judy. Our maintenance people do our freezer blowout, yet on the other hand, I hire my hoods done because my hoods are huge. And you just got to work on that, whichever way works with your school. We like to take bun bags and cover our pans. So the last day of school, we generally do that, because then when people are in doing maintenance, we don't have to scrub big stuff off of them in the fall when we come back. You clean all that stuff anyway, but it's better if it's protected. Freezers, coolers, ovens are just a really big thing to leave as clean as possible, even if you are doing summer lunch. Make sure your inventory is as low as you can be. I agree with Judy. I'm in over the summer and I do check my freezers and stuff, but I also am aware of the fact they don't have as much staff if they have a problem. So moving it's more over. I mean, it's another consideration. I don't really have anything else to add.
Beth, did you call the next person or you may be muted?
Was
I
I
saw your-
muted?
Yeah.
Okay, Kathy Beckman, you're next. Thanks, Allie.
We usually pack up our kitchen and do our cleaning. I have lists for everybody that's on staff. They each have a year-end cleaning list, and it tells, we bag up all of our pans. Any of the flour goes in the freezers, pastas, all that kind of thing that can get bugs goes either in the freezer or in the cooler. And then I try to get much of my inventory down as possible. And then I also have a list for custodians, blowing out all my compressors, that kind of thing. I usually have them do over the summer. And I have my custodials also come in and check and log my temperatures of my freezer and my refrigerations that are still running. That way, when I come in to check, then I know what the temperature's at and where it's at. So, and then let's see what else. right now I'm just getting ready for summer snack program and working on, I'll be working on looking at my cycle menu for next year and getting that updated or tweaked a little bit. And then in May, I'll probably start planning my menus for August and September and getting my training list stuff done. So I'm ready to start August with all that kind of stuff. I think that's about it that I can think of.
Awesome. Thank you. That was good. Okay, let's see who else, if we have anybody else on. Okay, so now we're gonna go to some of their questions. One of the questions was, how many years can you store food? And any of the mentors that want to answer, go ahead and answer.
Commodities used to have a rule 3 years, but that was back when they had the best by dates weren't on as much, and it was, now there's a use by date. So I tend to go by the use by date. Even in my, which all the distributors right now, it's much better. But even when stuff comes in, I kind of don't always do first in, first out, because in the past with commodities, sometimes you got stuff that was dated. I always word this wrong. It was dated to be used up before what you got in at the first of the year, because they didn't always rotate their stock. So I kind of watch those dates. Produce like apples or oranges, like we'll make sure we get rid of those before school gets out. Milk, sometimes I throw in the freezer and then we make oatmeal muffins with it. But that's kind of my rule of thumb.
Very good. How do you store food? We've talked about the flour and the pasta in the milk going into the freezers. Are there anything else that you guys do differently?
I think it makes a big difference if your, how secure your kitchen is. So if your kitchen is the summer traffic way, like ours used to be in the janitors, there was no air conditioning, so the building was all open and windows were open, so dust flew in a lot faster and stuff disappeared. So then I really was a lockdown person. But if you can lock off your pantry and you know it's secure and it's cool, air conditioned, then I wouldn't worry as much.
Very good. Those are all good things to consider because we don't want your food disappearing. That costs money.
Some of the foods that I have in the freezer, I will plan to make sure that I use them up in August right away. Whether it's sliced ham or turkey, whatever. I try to get that used up right away in August, those first menus that I have. And then that way it's always rotated.
Very good. Very good. Okay, so we have.
Excuse me, Beth.
ahead.
I think Sheila, did you have something you wanted to say?
Well, I was just gonna say a lot of times we'll freeze things like yogurt and stuff and use if when we have leftover bulk and use it right away when we come back in the fall. As far as making salads or something with it, because you do have to be careful when you thaw those things because they can suffer texture consistency. And kids all read the best by dates, so we've done this before, frozen things and brought them out, and the kids will be like, these are expired. So that's just another thing to watch and be aware of. That if you freeze something that you know is fine, which so many things are. One year we had a plethora of some kind of fresh vegetable, and we cut it up and froze it to use in August. But the kids were a little wary of that. So you just really have to be careful how you present it when you bring it back. And so many of them are told at home these days, watch that date and throw it out. So just to save yourself a little bit of headache there is kind of an awareness factor of how you use that food when you bring it back out. That's really
Very good. So not everybody can hear you, Sheila. So let me know if I didn't get this right. You freeze the small yogurts and then you take them out and put them into like a salad or something. And then you also freeze your fresh veggies and put those out then in the fall. Right? Good, good. Okay. Yeah, there is lots of wind today. And it is wreaking havoc on the internet. So we're just glad you guys are all here. Okay, so I saw another question. How long can you keep the commodity string cheese in the freezer? If the manufacturer's date is December of 2020. Anybody want to take that? Okay, I'll take it. So what the USDA and the state inspectors are going to say is when you're freezing, make sure you are dating, you mark down or track your dates that you're freezing something like your string cheese, and then keep it in the freezer for 1 year maximum. Your meats have a little bit longer, but cheese doesn't last quite as long. Veggies have a little bit longer also. Okay, who wants to answer this question of the mentors? Can someone go over the hoods, cleaning and whatnot in a little more detail?
As far as the hoods above your ovens and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
we usually take the baffles out and we will clean those ourselves because then I have our fire and safety company come in and they clean the hood. They get up in there where the fan and stuff is and get all that cleaned out. And I have them do that. I do that every other year. Have them come and clean it out. But the baffles we clean twice a year.
Good, good. We used to have to clean our hoods more often when we had fryers in our kitchens a long time ago. And since we don't do that, we don't have to clean them quite as often, which is kind of nice. But make sure you don't have any dust hanging down or that dust that you can see in those baffles, because food safety inspectors don't like those. Okay, which one of the mentors would like to take this question? Are we required to write leftovers from the day before on the current?
You cut out on, you said
Oh,
current
did I?
and you cut
Yeah.
out. I didn't hear that.
Okay. So are you required to write leftovers down from the day before on the current production record, the current day production? So if you had leftovers, sloppy joes, Do you have, and you're serving them again on today, do you have to write them down on the current production record?
Yes, I would write it down and make sure that you write reheat and what the temperature was and what the time was.
Very good. Okay. Sean wants to know what baffles are, Kathy.
Okay, how do I describe them? When you look up in your ceiling where your fans are, they're screens that come out one by one. And I call them baffles. I don't know, maybe that's not the right terminology for them, but each one of those will come out and we run them through a dish machine, like degrees and clean them up and run them through the dish machine.
Filters.
Right. They are the filters. And then they want to know if you can wash them through the dish machine.
Yes, they can go through the dish machine.
Good. Makes it so much easier than having to do it by hand.
We used, depending on your kitchen, we used to have some really big old heavy ones in the old elementary, and those we actually took to the car wash.
And those were heavy, weren't
They
they?
are so heavy. And when that was about a 4 times, we do it usually about 4 times a year. But I'm not lucky like Kathy. I make my girls crawl up and clean. And the other thing I thought of that we clean, probably like your fans, if you have any floor fans, and then where the air comes out in the ceiling, like your ceiling vents, it gets around the tiles and stuff. So then we take a vacuum cleaner and a scrub brush and catch those.
Yeah, our stand-up fans, they clean them probably at least once a month, if not more than that.
Yeah. Okay. Sheila also said that the stovetop burner covers can go through the dish machine. Okay, Sean wants to know how often you have to clean or wash the baffles. She said when she was in food service, we did it weekly. Is that too often?
I guess I do mine twice a year. Usually at the end and then around December, January, sometime in there. Or if they look dirty, if they're starting to look dirty again, then go ahead and get them and clean them then.
Right. And it really depends on the number or the usage of your kitchen. And with no fryers, that's cut down on quite a bit. Plus, when you have fryers, the dust collects in all that oil that's going up those exhaust fans, the hood. So
We try to do ours monthly. I said try. Doesn't always happen, but we try, or I try, since I'm the only one in here. So otherwise, when Mighty Ducks come out of Kearney and clean the vents, they clean them then too. So
awesome. Okay. Okay. Do any of our new managers have any questions? Okay.
Next year gonna bring.
What did you say?
I said, what is next year gonna bring? Besides this year with headaches, okay? I have a dishwasher that's down and a refrigerator that's down. Yippee.
We used to call that the crystal ball. Mine's broken.
Hopefully they will get fixed before next year. Okay, so let's see here. We got some questions. Okay, I hear many of you rotating menus. Is there a place or a person that helps you set up a 6-week menu? Anybody want to take that?
I went ahead and set up my own 6-week cycle. I just went through and you have your easier meals and your hard meals, and I tried to,
Put it out.
yeah,
You're fine.
even it out so that you can get some easy days and some harder days in a week, and until you get your whole, 5-week cycle. If you don't want to do 6, you could do a 5 or a 4. So, but yeah, I did it all by myself. So
Yeah.
I
Okay.
did too, but I've seen people who shared theirs, and there are services that'll do it for you, and you know what your kids like. And if you've done it yourself, you personalize it more to your staff and your students because they're all different.
That is so true, Sheila, that each school has something that's just a little bit different from the other schools.
And with that idea, you could go on school websites and look at their lunch menus and get ideas for yourself. That might, spark a new idea, or, you could always call that school and say, hey, I noticed you got this on your menu. How do you make that? So.
and everybody's
one
kitchen
point-
is a little bit different as far as equipment and what they can do
Mhm.
too. So you kind of want to do your own cycle according to what you can do.
Very good. Sheila, were you going to say something else? I'll look for it in the chat. Okay, so what about the spray nozzles on the hoods? Should a fire and safety clean those? So the nozzles that come down that would, if you had a fire, would disperse all of the fire retardant. Do you guys clean those?
We usually wipe ours down, but as far as touching anything that's gonna set them off, I wouldn't. I mean, you can wipe down the piping and stuff, but that's all I do with it.
Very good. Okay, who do you use to clean the vents?
We have a company out of Kearney. It's called Mighty Ducks.
Hmm.
And their phone number is 308-379-9602. And they'll come once a year or every other year, however often you want to have them come. Most of the times, they might also be doing local nursing homes in your area as well. So
We use them as well. Really good, but very busy.
Okay. Do you have to do cycle menus? No. You want to take that?
You don't have to do cycle menus. I feel it's easier for me to do a cycle menu. Especially when you're busy and you got to get those menus out. It's easier just to plug in, like around Christmas time, I always do a turkey meal. So I'll take out something on that week's menu and plug in my turkey menu. So you're just changing one thing, but all those popular items like your pizza and your hamburgers and those kinds of things, they'll stay on that week. And then I just take one that isn't so popular and I put in my turkey menu. I feel it works much easier for me. It took me a long time to to want to get to that cycle menu, but it does help.
Very good.
I have a question. How many weeks do you do on your breakfast menu then? Do you do 2 or 3 weeks? Do people use a cycle menu on the breakfast?
I do a cycle menu for my breakfast, but I only do like a 3-week for breakfast. There's just not as many items, and I know what my kids like, and I just rotate it every 3 weeks. That way I keep them coming.
Okay. Okay, that's good. 3 weeks for breakfast and 6 for the lunch. Trying to see if there's any more questions. Kathy's at Boone Central. And Sheila does her breakfast same as she does her lunch cycle, but she does tend to change it more. So does anyone have trouble getting stuff for breakfast? I'm guessing right now that's a yes. Okay. So Becky says that when she's making her cycle, she chooses a theme for each day. So on Mondays, it's home style. Tuesday, she does Mexican meals like tacos, whatever. Wednesdays, just to create a theme for each day for a week. And I know a lot of people have gone to where they haven't had their cycle menus have been interrupted this year because of the supply chain shortages. Can't speak. So that's not a normal year. Usually we pretty much know during the school year what you're going to be getting. And we're hoping that that will start in the fall. Andrew does a 3-week cycle for lunch, 2 for snacks and breakfast. And they're going to try more seasonal menus next year and adjust to the season more. That's great. Great idea. Judy doesn't do cycle menus, but the months also follow the same pattern. And she works around staff schedules. So that's another great idea. Does anyone have a good recipe planner that will give you calories and carbs, etc.? Yeah. Judy, do you have anything like that?
No, the breakfast shortage, if your kids eat on a lunch tray or eat, like you're not packaging it, and maybe it works okay if you package it, but we've tried, our kids come through the line for breakfast and eat out in the cafeteria. So we've gone to doing more scrambled eggs and breakfast casserole and coffee cake. What else? There was something else that we made from scratch that we're going to try making our own breakfast pizza. Biscuits and gravy. Things that I know other than the biscuits, but I can make the gravy. Things that I can kind of control. And that's kind of helped us with some of the breakfast items. And the kids seem to like the homemade more than some of the prepackaged stuff, which kind of surprised me.
Yeah. Those are great suggestions. Okay, so this is from Mary S. and we might, excuse me, need more clarification. Any suggestions for getting a more accurate lunch count and to help be more accurate on the amount you prepare?
I know at the elementary school here in Emerson, the teacher does a lunch count at the beginning of the day. She hangs it out in the hallway, the secretary picks it up, and gives it to the cook. Here at the high school, we don't do that. So we kind of, I kind of know the students, I know what they like, but if I'm questioning how many I made the last time, I look at previous records. That's, because you've already served it once, say you made 150 servings, you had 30 left, so the next time you make it, you don't want to make as much. So, and if you got a lot of kids gone, a lot of times I check with the secretary to see how many kids are out sick, or maybe like next week is FBLA convention, so you're going to have kids gone. So if you check with the sponsors or secretaries, you might be able to find out how many are gone for the day.
Our problem is we do that, we cut back, and the kids out eat us. I mean, they eat like there's nobody gone. I had 87 kids gone today, and I still fed that many kids for extras and everything. So it's hard to cut too. So we're trying to balance that out too. So.
Well, as long as they get fed the first
Yeah.
meal, you don't have to offer the seconds.
I know.
Well, on the back of my, on the back of my production record, which you can't see, but I made this table long ago. And it says the last time we had it and what the counts were. So we send food to the elementary. We have the high school, preschool, Tower, Head Start, and St. Mary's. So I have those numbers. So last time we had today's meal, we served 357 at the elementary. Today we serve 360 main dish items. I mean, it's amazing how close they actually usually come for. Now we serve more salads today than last time. So it's kind of but it does really help me. I know Mary Ann would come and she'd say, Judy, you don't have to do that, but it helps my cooks in planning and preparing, because I don't do the delivery ticket, what they have to send until count comes in, the actual count comes in, but they can kind of look ahead and see. That's our tool in Wayne.
Good. Jody asked if you have to.
You said you haven't.
Mary, we can't hear you.
Oh, sorry, Beth.
There you go. Now we can hear you.
I can hear me.
No, we can't hear you now. Do you want to write it in the chat?
Sorry.
No, that's all right.
Did Judy say that she has them logged that they want a second as well?
Judy, did you hear
Like
that?
if the student wants the entree plus wants to purchase the second one?
When we get lunch count, we don't know whether they're getting seconds or not, but I know that in the high school, generally, I need to explode lunch count from 130 to 140 every day. And if it's mini corn dogs, probably 170. But no, they don't usually tell me that they want seconds, but I kind of have my little cheat sheet knowing how many seconds that they usually buy.
Very good. Jody had asked if you have to track your seconds on the production records. You want to take that, Judy?
Yes, I track them on production records. I thought you meant that I know when they signed up for lunch.
No, no,
Yes.
no. She
Yes,
did say
yes,
that.
yes.
Yeah.
I track
But
them
yeah,
on
both.
production records,
Good, good. Yeah. Good, good.
which
Um,
are we use Wordware. So when they're going through the line, Wordware tracks how many extras we sold.
which is good. Yes. Okay. Okay, to vary from. Sheila says that she has power school and struggle. We just keep reminding everyone when we run out because of bad counts, we let the students know that is why the favorite item is gone. And that's, I mean, if they don't put it in the system right, it's going to be trial and error. Okay, any other questions? Oh, wait. Okay, do you guys have any other questions? Okay, two of you had mentioned, go ahead.
Yes, I do. Okay, so if, say, a teacher or a student comes in with their own salad and walks into your kitchen with salad dressing, to put salad dressing on their salad, can they actually do that? It's their salad from home, and they're using our salad dressing. Can they actually do that or not?
I'll take this one so you guys don't have to do. They can't do that unless you have an a la carte price for that.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm. They can't take anything free from the cafeteria unless they're paying for it. Any other questions?
I would just like to invite everyone to come in June to the state conference. And because most of you will be new, but there's a lot of networking that goes on at the tables and at the food show. Maybe as you're going through, you learn new ideas from people going through beside you. Like they say, oh, we use this bun for, or this. And even at nights, the networking and the sharing of different ideas. And it is a lot of fun. It's not all, I mean, sometimes some of the sessions are like classroom, but it is fun.
It is. And the dates are June 27th through the 29th.
On Monday, the 27th at 10:30 to 11:30, there's a first timer attendee reception. So if you haven't been, even if you're an old person in the kitchen, but it's your first time coming, it would be a great way to mingle.
It's a great event. We also have our Child Nutrition Training Academy this year on June 6th through the 10th. And we welcome anybody that wants to come. You guys received your invite or your registration information on yesterday, or let's see what's today. Today's, yeah, I got it yesterday. And then we have trainings throughout the summer also, and those dates will be coming out soon. Danny wants to know, how do you nicely tell people that we will be doing things by the rules? I get a lot of pushback, but when we have always done it that way.
Danny, good luck. And I can tell you after, let's see, this is 28 years as manager, I think. I still get pushback. I get pushback by one staff member for sure. I got, because it's her way or the highway, but she doesn't realize the highway's coming close. On the other hand, you don't have anyone to hire, so it's hard. It's hard. And I tell them there's a new sheriff. There's times I've said this at the meetings. Sometimes I'll say, I don't care. Let me call, especially if it's an administrator or teacher. I'll say, let me call Department of Ed and I'll verify it. And then I call Department of Ed and they're really good about saying what I just said. Like portion control, or that they have to have all the items because they don't want to take too long to feed everybody, or they don't feel a kindergartner can eat that much, so therefore we shouldn't serve that much. Or that people need to wash their hands when they're, like the janitor who takes the garbage out and then comes in to rearrange the silverware and doesn't wash his hands in between, but he's helping you out. Use Department of Ed and the food inspector there. I mean, they truly are your friends. And then you just go in the freezer, make sure it's soundproof and scream.
Hey, Judy, you've been there for 35 years. I was in high school.
Was Pam's lunch lady, yes. But I wasn't manager. I've been there longer than, yes.
Just thought I'd let you know.
Yeah. Yeah, you can always tell them it's a federal program and you have to follow the rules and regulations on things like that. They will probably push back, but they can always call down and talk to us. Any of the program specialists are more than willing to talk to them about the rules and regulations and why you can't do things. Kim, I will, if you didn't get the emails from the Nebraska School Lunch Association on the about the conference this summer, let me know and I will send it to you, and I will send you our email also. Yeah, just go in the freezer and relieve all your tension by screaming. So, oh, John put on their NSNA website, and for the conference at the end of June. Ours isn't up on our website yet. Hopefully it'll get there. Okay, and Jody, you don't get them either. Okay. And I'll send you those websites as well. Okay, does anybody have any other questions?
I do, but I don't have a place to put it, type it. Can I just ask?
Yeah, we can hear you really well, Judy or Trudy.
That's okay. You can call me whatever you want. I have special needs kids, as you know, and sometimes like they know they have to take a vegetable or fruit, but they really don't want to today. Is there a special needs like bending the rules, or is it all cut and dry?
Do you have special diet forms filled out on those kids? Because
on some of the children, yes, but I'm talking just in general, if they're having one of those days, you know, I just can't mark it as a complete meal, or is there a bending rule for special needs kids?
Do they have, Do they
Go
have a
ahead,
staff
Sheila.
member? Do they have a staff member with them? Because frequently, if they're having a bad day and a staff member can come with them and kind of mitigate the situation, so they take food, but somebody helps them understand they don't have to eat it, you're covered and they're happy.
So we do like a 504 with the kids. And it's documented that like maybe one of the boys we used to have, if the cream turkey touched the mashed potatoes, he would have a meltdown. Maybe he had a meltdown in the classroom. And so it was like whatever food we could get in them. And sometimes they would come back 2 hours later and get the food, and we would reheat it, and it'd be a normal day or some food. So if you can get, then if it's on the 504, you're legal. Or you used to be legal. That was pre-COVID.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. As
Jody,
long as you,
Judy,
go
that
ahead.
is correct. That is correct. If it's in their 504 plan or on a medical statement from a licensed healthcare professional, that is part of their special diet and accommodation.
and that's what most of our schools with special needs do, is one of those, or an IEP. So good job. Okay.
The IEP, Beth, is their educational
I
plan.
know, but
It's not addressed in the IEP necessarily. It would be in the 504.
right, but some of them address it so that it's in all of them. So it's in there somewhere. Because we have a special needs school that uses the IEP, so it covers everything. And I don't know how that works because I'm not on that side of it. We do have one more question. How do you handle people taking things that the kids do not eat, like bananas, fruit cups, that they are taking home? And this is the staff doing that.
Are they
Anybody gonna take
charged for
that?
them?
Well, the kids, they're taking them off the kids, the ones that the kids aren't taking. The kids took them and then they're taking them because the kids didn't eat them and taking them home. Just has to be stopped. They're not allowed to take those from the kids' trade. Either goes back on the share table or it goes in the trash.
That was just on the news last night where some teachers lost their job for doing it. And I can't remember what state it was in, maybe Iowa, because it was the Iowa news. But I don't know.
I saw that too. I'll have to look it up and let you guys know where it was. Yeah, they can lose their jobs over. Let's see. I had another one from Becky suggests that you charge them so they know that they can't do that. I just saw another one, another question, and I lost it.
Beth, there is a question in the chat. Can kids have pop at lunch?
Oh, thank you. That's what I was looking for. Do you want to answer that?
No, I'll let somebody else answer it.
Keep it so quiet. Okay, who wants to take that one? Can kids have pop at lunch?
I'll try. It depends, of course, on the grade level, because if they are 9 through 12, they can purchase diet pop or certain beverages according to our Smart Snack Guidelines beverage chart. Schools can certainly have stricter policies in regard to what kids bring in their sack lunches. If they're bringing pop in a sack lunch, that would be a school policy and needs to be communicated with your households. There's nothing federal that regulates what kids bring in their sack lunch. But I think the question was, can they have? And so it can be sold, diet pop or those beverages according to that smart snack beverage guideline for the different grades, and it's 9 through 12. And then of course, I already mentioned sack lunches.
Yep. Yes. And hopefully your wellness plan regulates those sack lunches.
Policy.
The policy. Okay. We have another question here. If an incoming student has a 504 and needs blended pureed diet, who is responsible for the cost of the equipment?
And I answered that one, that it is the food service department. There is no extra reimbursement for students that require special foods or the equipment. But once that is part of their plan, then the food service department needs to accommodate. I love that one. What about vegan high schoolers? That's a preference. And a preference, it does not indicate that you have to follow that. That's a personal preference, a student preference. Schools can choose to accommodate. There's nothing that requires them to accommodate. It's just they can request, but totally up to the school to decide what they want to do with that.
Very good. What if an incoming preschooler needs sippy cups? Who supplies that? And I think that might be dependent on if it's a swallowing issue. Because we do have a school that has a pre-K person that is coming in that has a swallowing issue, and they are going to have to eat, they eat 3 times instead of the 2 times, but it's in their, they have a doctor's statement for it. And they have to supply the little cup that they are, the food service will have to supply the cup for that student that is needed for those 3 meals. So if there's no medical issue, it's up to the school. Probably the parent or another one of those customer service things. Do you supply it or do they? So. Okay, anybody else have any other questions? Donna, did you see any more questions that I missed?
I don't believe so.
I have one with the menus and stuff. Since we have, I have 3 students that are gluten-free, and we do have the medical papers, all the documentations. So we give them, like today was cream chicken. Well, they can't have they can have the chicken, but they can't have it with gravy. So I made a separate menu to kind of give it to them, so we knew that they were in school, or not give it to them for I gave it to my girls. So like they got diced chicken, and then they've got a bun because they couldn't have our regular roll, so they get like half a bun or something like that. Is that okay? And do you guys want that in with the other menus?
Janet, great. You know, you want to mimic the regular menu as close as possible for your special diets, but because those kids don't want to feel different than other kids. But you also have to be very careful that you are providing their need for gluten-free and looking at all those things to avoid cross-contamination, all those things, so that you're providing a safe food environment for those students. For your own record keeping, yes, I think it might be nice to have that documentation of what you provided those students in case there might be a reaction or something, then you would have it documented what you provided them.
Okay, we also put it on, like my daughter, I can tell you, my daughter's she has celiac disease, so she's got gluten-free. So she'll come in the morning, check in with Kathy and say, hey, I'm here. And then we tell her, okay, you're gonna have diced chicken and a gluten bun. And today you get your gluten-free donut, because that's what we had for breakfast this morning. And so then we have it on our lunch production sheet as well. So we have that on both sides for the elementary and the high school. So we at least know, because Marie does not come in all the time, or she leaves because she's an active teenager. Okay, so we try to have them check in so we can pull it out or not have it out type thing.
Right. Sounds like you're doing what you need to do.
Okay.
Just a suggestion on the gluten-free Bernard food. They do have a gravy that is gluten-free. I've used that for some of my gluten-free kids in the past. So, and it tastes good, so. And you can put that over mashed potatoes too. You don't have to do it over a bun or whatever. You can put it over mashed potatoes or whatever.
Yeah. Bernard's was telling me that they have some gravies that are gluten-free. So it's right now it's trial and error. So.
Okay, so we had a question on, we offer chef salad, and some kids do not want the meat alternate on their salad or the dairy, etc. How do we do that to be compliant? And then Sheila and John have both replied, and they said, in regards to the chef salad, we kept up the meat and cheese so they can use it or not on their salad as a student wants. And then John says that veggie, fruit, and grain would work only because you only need to have 3 of the 5 items for offer versus serve. So great answers. Okay. And then Becky says she uses a lot of gravies that are gluten-free, and they are actually very good. So very good. Okay, is there anything else? Any other questions?